Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome. So today we are going to do chapter 7, Shlokas 19 to 25. So we are going to do a lot of in-depth studies today. So I hope you are all feeling fresh. Okay. So welcome. We are going to, again, this is Krishna Dasa, welcome. We are going to do 7.19 to 7.25. Before we begin, I'll say the prayers to Guru and God. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So I will play the Guru Mantra just like we did last time. And you can try following.
Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha.
Hare Krishna, I hope it's becoming more and more easier to...
You're feeling shy.
Kalpana ji is asking if you're all feeling shy of reciting. Yeah, as I said, it will become natural. Once you hear it a few more times, it will come very naturally. Okay. So, I will start playing the shlokas.
Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate Vasudevah sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabhah Kamaistaistaihratagnanah prapadyantenya Tam tam niyamamasthaya prakrutya niyatah swaya Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhayarchitumicchati Tasya tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham Sataya shraddhaya yuktastasya radhanamihate Labhate cha tatah kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan Antavantu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam Devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mamabuddhayaha Param bhavamajananto mamavyayamanuttama Naham prakashah sarvasya yogamaya samavritah Mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajamavyayam.
Hare Krishna. I think today Asha ji is going to read the translations.
Yes, Guruji. Hare Krishna. 7.19 After many births of spiritual practice and wisdom, one who is endowed with knowledge finally comes to me, realizing and understanding that everything, indeed all that is Vasudeva. Such a soul who comes to this profound realization is very rare. 7.20 Those whose wisdom and knowledge are overshadowed by various material desires and end up surrendering to and worshipping the celestial gods. Influenced by their inherent nature, they engage in specific rituals and practices meant to propitiate these devatas, following the path determined by their desires and nature. 7.21 Whichever celestials form a devotee chooses to worship with steadfast faith. I, in my support, make with faith of the devotee steady and unwavering in that chosen form. 7.22 Endowed with faith, the devotee worship a specific celestial god and seeks to obtain their desires. These desires are indeed fulfilled, yet in reality, it is I alone who orchestrates and grants these benefits. 7.23 The fruit gained by these individuals of limited understanding are impermanent and perishable. Those who worship the celestial gods attain their realms, but those who worship me come to my divine abode. 7.24 The less intelligent and ignorant thinks of me, the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, as a previously formless and now manifest in a personal form. They fail to grasp the imperishable, exalted, and supreme nature of my true, unmanifest self. 7.25 I am not manifest to everyone, veiled as I am by my divine Yogamaya energy, thus hidden by my divine power. Those without knowledge do not recognize me as the unborn and unchangeable. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So we start the discussion by talking about intellectuals versus devotees. This is where Krishna is beginning this set of shlokas here. Usually the intellectual people, they tend to look down upon bhaktas, devotees, And of course, it is both ways. Sometimes devotees also look down upon the intellectuals. So we have been having this debate for a long time. The bhaktas will call the intellectuals as Mayavadis, and the Mayavadis will call them as the Bhaktivadis. And so if you hear some lectures by these Bhakti movement people, they will always say, these Mayavadis, they don't understand how to worship God. And if you listen to these scholars, these Vedanta people, many times they will say, these Bhaktivadis, they have ruined everything. They don't understand the actual techniques, they don't understand the meaning, and yeah. So, but Krishna, what is Krishna's opinion? Krishna has made it very clear. Krishna says that jnana is important, because it is jnana that gives us an idea that bhakti is the supreme path. But then Krishna says, use it only for what it is worth. Your jnana should be the means to get you to bhakti. And then it should be the bhakti that is taking you further in the evolution. So Krishna says, if you are focusing only on jnana, you can still reach me. You can be a jnana yogi and still reach me, but it's going to take you many, many, many births. Because that path is very difficult, but it is possible. Krishna says, but as we discussed last time, but the bhakti yogis, they have a shortcut. They will come to me much faster. And Krishna says, if you practice bhakti the right way, one lifetime is enough. Even in this lifetime, you can attain me. So beautiful. So the concept of bhakti has been given a lot of importance in a lot of different texts. So if you look at the Svetasvatara Upanishad, there it says, Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyaita katita hyartaha prakasante mahatmanaha. Unto those great souls who have supreme devotion to God and as much devotion to their Guru, all the divine Vedic knowledge get illuminated and their deep meanings are automatically revealed. So this Upanishad, Svetasvatara Upanishad, tells that if you practice bhakti the right way, if you practice devotion, by the power of devotion, to God and Guru, it says that the Vedantic knowledge will itself reveal to you, like the meanings will become clear to you automatically. You know, just like when you have human love, when you actually feel and realize human love, then suddenly people become poets. Poetry starts making sense to them when they are in human love. So what the Upanishad is saying is, if you are in divine love, the Vedantic knowledge, divine knowledge will start making sense. Okay. So the Srimad Bhagavatam also has a very beautiful shloka. It says, Bhaktihi pareshanubhuvo viraktihi ranyatra chaishatrika ekakalah prapadyamanasya yatashnatah syushushtihi pushtihi kshudapayo nugasam. Very nice shloka actually. What it says is, and some of you, I think we discussed it when we were talking about bhakti earlier. It says that devotion, the immediate realization of the Supreme Lord, and a growing interest in worldly affairs. So these are three things. What is the first thing? First thing is devotion. Second thing is realization of God. Third thing is vairagya. Vairagya means detachment, dispassion for anything else. So Bhagavatam in this shloka says, they all will manifest concurrently for the person who is seeking refuge in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now you may ask, how can all three happen concurrently, simultaneously? Well, that is what the Bhagavatam is saying. The explanation is very beautiful. It goes on to say, just like when we are eating, there are three things that happen. One, the pleasure that you have of tasting, eating. Second, the nourishment for the body. The body gets nourishment from that food. And third, your hunger goes away. Relief from hunger. These are three things. So Bhagavatam says, don't they all happen at the same time when you eat food? Just like that, if you are seeking refuge in the Supreme Lord, bhakti, realization of God, and vairagya, they will all happen simultaneously. Beautiful. Whereas if you are a jnani, you will be dissecting each one of them separately. So, through devotion, we develop vairagya. And that is very, very important if we have to make progress. You see, even in the Ramayana, you remember, they are given so much importance to bhakti. Because the whole devotion of Hanuman to Rama is central to Ramayana. So although there are a lot of other things going on in Ramayana, the central part, the most beautiful and most, profound aspect of Ramayana is Hanuman and Lord Rama, the relationship, how Hanuman was in bhakti all the time, and also Shabri, the relationship between Shabri and Rama. These are the most beautiful parts of Ramayana which have been sung by so many scholars and saints. However, although bhakti is the most superior path, Krishna himself has said bhakti is the superior. But Krishna has also said that it is very rare for people to just surrender to me and grow in bhakti. You remember we studied this in earlier in 7th chapter, especially 7.3. Ashaji, you want to read 7.3?
Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam yuvetti tattvataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one know me in truth.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Ashaji. So you see, Krishna has given both the pieces of knowledge to us. He has said that first of all, bhakti is the best path. And he has said, but it is very rare for somebody to actually surrender to me and progress on bhakti. And Krishna gives the reasons also. We will quickly go through that later. But what should be our goal? Our goal should be, we should be that rare one that Krishna is talking about. Krishna is saying the rarest of rare. So that should be our goal. We want to become that rarest of rare that Krishna is talking about. Okay. So Krishna, when he said, he spoke about people who surrender to him, Sukritanas, and people who do not surrender to him, Duskritanas. We discussed the categories last time. So in that, in Sukritanas, the third category, he was calling them as Artha-Arthi, seekers of worldly possessions. Now for those people, Krishna has a special warning here. What Krishna says is people who belong to that category. Which category? Artha-Arthi. If you choose to worship the demigods, because most of Artha-Arthis, they are all they want shortcuts. So they will go, like for example, I want money, I will worship Lakshmi. I want to pass an exam, I will worship Saraswati. I want some obstacles to go away, I will worship Ganesha. So we treat that as like a business transaction. So we know like which department we have to go if we want a particular result. So they are the Artha-Arthis. That is the mindset there. So there Krishna is telling them that it's okay, if you want to do that, you may get worldly success. He says you may even reach higher planets by that path. However, you will have to again be born on earth. There is no path to liberation in that approach. Very important. Extremely important distinction. Krishna says that it is only through the Supreme God. The Supreme God is the only entity that can give us liberation. Nothing else can give us liberation. So the other important thing Krishna is saying is there is nothing wrong in seeking worldly pleasure. It's okay as long as you are not attached to it. But if you want material positions, yes, you can go to a demigod by all means. But you can come to me for that also. He's like a real loving Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. So he's saying, you don't have to think that you cannot come to me for material thing. You can come to me for everything, Krishna says. So instead of, picking this kind of, for money I will go here, for education I will go there, you can come to me for everything and I will give you what you want. Or more precisely, he will always give us what we need. Okay, so the point is not, Krishna is not saying give up all material ambitions. What Krishna is saying is transform those material ambitions into devotional service to the Supreme. That material ambition can also be directed towards the Supreme, correct? Instead of just saying I want money so that I can buy a luxury car, you can say I want money so that I can, do more service without worrying about my, food and shelter. So that money is not a problem. The problem is how we approach it, what we need it for. It shouldn't become greed. It should be more like, I want to use the money so that I can do service to God. And Krishna says that is fine. And you can come to me for that also. So in other words, material success, it can be part of our journey, but it cannot be the sole focus of our journey. See, I'll give you another example. When we were kids, a lot of us, we play with, we have all these games we play, Chor Police and Doctor. So when we are playing Chor Police, we use these fake guns. We will take a stick and pretend it is a gun and we are shooting somebody. But when we are kids and when we are doing that, our parents, usually they will not stop us. They are not going to tell us, you are ignorant, that is not a real gun. They are not going to say like that. They are not going to say, oh, it is only a stick, why are you pretending that it is a gun? No parent ever tells. Usually what happens is parents will encourage. Why they encourage? Because a lot of parents, they think that it actually gives you the confidence. Like if you play Doctor, it will build that confidence in you through that also. And eventually one day when you become a doctor, maybe that helps you. Just like that, you are saying Chor Police, I am just shooting. But at least they encourage you. They say, okay, go ahead. One day you may become a real police, who knows? So that is how parents approach that, correct? So Krishna, what he is saying is, if you want to go demigod worship, it is like this, not the supreme. It is like something less than a supreme. It is like not the real gun. But if you still want to do it, Krishna says that's fine. I will develop the strength, or I will develop the bhakti for that also. So if you choose that no, I want to worship this particular demigod, Krishna will help you develop devotion to that demigod also. So there is no, he's not talking about I'm good, they are bad. He's just saying everybody has a purpose. Okay, there is a purpose for everything. That fake gun had a purpose. The purpose was to keep you entertained when you were a child. The purpose was to help you build your confidence. But imagine you become an actual police and you are still running around with a stick in your hand pretending it's a gun. Or imagine you become a real doctor and you are still having that, a rope and stone around your neck and you are pretending, Why? Because at that time you are supposed to evolve. No? That is what Krishna is saying. So get what you want, but eventually you have to realize that you have to evolve and you have to worship the Supreme. Ashaji, I think you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, but I got the answer. But please correct me if I'm wrong. Like what I understood, like you told, like if someone is, worshipping any god, like a demigod, out of materialistic gain, out of expecting materialistic gain, then that person may have to get many births to get the liberation. But out of bhakti in the mind, keeping bhakti in the mind and expecting liberation only, if someone is worshipping any demigod, then that person will get liberation, right?
So what Krishna is saying is, if you know it is a demigod, then you should also know that demigods don't have the power to give you liberation. That liberation is the department of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only that Supreme So you are supposed to evolve. So at least you should learn to see the Supreme in that demigod, then it's still fine. So if you say that, I am seeing Krishna in this God, that's fine. That approach as a bhakti yogi will be okay. But as long as we are worshipping, saying that, I am worshipping this demigod because this demigod will give me money, or this demigod will give me child, or whatever, Krishna says that is going to keep you in the sansar. And you will have to keep taking births to get. So that makes it clear, Ashaji?
Guruji, I had a similar question, but I have some follow-up onto what you said. I was thinking of the same question, and see, somebody is, let's say, doing, having that bhakti bhav and praying, let's say, a demigod, right? How that person will have realization if you don't read Gita, right? How you know that eventually you have to go to Krishna, right?
Yes. Very, very excellent question. And this is what Krishna said, that jnana is important. That is why Krishna said divine knowledge is important. And the goal of divine knowledge is to get this knowledge, that Krishna is the Supreme and I need to reach that. That is why Krishna has come on earth and given us the Bhagavad Gita. So yes, seek knowledge, definitely. But once you have the knowledge, then understand that the purpose of the knowledge was this. The purpose was not to become a jnani, but the purpose was to use that knowledge to now go to the Supreme Personality. I hope that makes sense, Rajesh ji. Okay, so
what
yes.
Just in a nutshell, I can say, whoever the demigods you are worshipping with the bhakti and bhava means with full devotion, that will reach Krishna, no? Because that is the one he can. Endha roopathila irundhalum, I will be there in Krishna said, no, Bhagavad Gita. So slowly we will change our mind and it will go into his path, no? So we will change our
Yes, totally. So I know that this topic usually gets me a lot of questions, and I really am grateful that you are all being kind and polite with me. So there is no offense to any demigod here. But see, even you are talking about Baba. So Sai Baba, he has said two things which he repeats all the time. First thing that is the first thing he says. And the second thing he says is Jaisa Bhava Vaisa Anubhava. These are the two things that Baba will always repeat. So what does it mean, Jaisa Bhava Vaisa Anubhava? You are saying, Baba, you are my father, I need money, give me money. Okay, he will become your monetary father. Or you say, Baba, you are like a mother, I am sad, make me feel happy. Okay, he will do that. But if you say, Baba, you are an avatar of God and take me towards liberation, then he will help you for that. It is our Bhava, sure. But how do we realize that this is so we are supposed to approach him? That is jnana. That is where the jnana comes into play, that hey, this Baba can be anything you want. Choose the right thing. Choose the right Bhava. I hope that makes sense, Lakshmi ji. Okay. Yes. Thank you. So, now we talk about the two aspects of Supreme. Okay. Now Krishna says that, of course, one of the other things Krishna says in a different words is the Supreme alone is absolute. Everything else is temporary. Supreme alone is... So we have studied even in the past that even Indra, who is the king of demigods, even Indra is going to eventually come back to earth. Even Indra has to be born back on earth. And this has been, reiterated in many scriptures in many different ways. That is the fact. So Krishna says the only supreme, the only absolute, the only permanent is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything else is temporary. So if you want to reach that permanence, then you have to approach that which is permanent. That is the whole message. Now the other thing is, we keep talking about Supreme Personality of Godhead, especially if you read the ISKCON version, that word will come many times, Supreme Personality of Godhead. In many other texts, they will just say Supreme Lord or the Supreme God. So what is this Supreme God? The question is that Supreme God having a form, or is that Supreme God formless? So how many people think Supreme God is formless? Raise your hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we have at least 7. Okay, 8. Awesome. So how many people think the Supreme God has a form? 1, 2, 3. Only 3? Okay.
Guru, what about both?
If it is both, then form hona chahiye na? Then form ko why you are not raising your hand?
No, I'm like on the both. He's formless also.
Okay, how many people think that Supreme Personality of Godhead is both form as well as formless? Yay, we have so many people. Okay, awesome. So you all already have that jnana. You all have that divine knowledge already. Because the question always, this has been another debate of, the big debate on does God have a form or does God not have a form. So this Mayavadis will say God does not have a form, and the Bhaktivadis will say God has a form, and they will be fighting with each other, saying you are right and I am wrong. So even in 4th chapter, you can take a small note and go revisit it. 4.5 and 4.6, we discussed a similar topic, so please go and revise that. So if you look at text like Srimad Bhagavatam, it will be filled with stories where they are describing Lord with a form, a beautiful form, where they will talk about, that dark-skinned Krishna, beautiful, charming, playing the flute, dancing with gopis, all of that. That is Srimad Bhagavatam, where they depict God with a form. Whereas if you look at some of the Upanishads, they are going to focus on God as the formless, Nirguna aspect. They will talk more about that. But if you look at Bhagavad Gita and how Krishna is approaching this topic. So for example, we will study it later. In the 11th chapter is known as Vishwarupa Darshanam, where Krishna is showing his Rupam, Vishwarupam, to Arjuna. So which means Krishna is saying this is my form. But then of course that form itself is so infinite that Arjuna has a tough time comprehending it. He says, your form is like so infinite. I see so many heads and all of that. In other words, Krishna can be with form as well as without form. The question again, if you are a jnani, you are going to ask me, either you will ask me which is superior, it's a very common question, or you will ask me which is primary, which is secondary. In other words, did the form give rise to the formless, or did the formless manifest the form? If you are not having these questions, I'm happy. But people who are inclined to intellectual analysis, they have all these questions. And in 7.24, Shri Krishna tells, he kind of resolves this debate, and he tells that in this spiritual realm, I exist in my divine form. So that debate is closed. Krishna himself has said that I have a form, and that is how I am existing in the spiritual realm. And he is saying the divine light that emanates from my form, that is my formless aspect. But again, it is not like whether the form is superior or the formless is superior. They both exist together. They are not separate. Just like, see, we say that sunlight and sun, correct? Now, can we say that the sun is superior to sunlight? It's pointless. Okay, because if there is no sun, there is no sunlight. And vice versa, if there is no sunlight, that means there is no sun. Because if there is a sun, there has to be sunlight. If there is no sunlight, means that is not sun. So that is the same way Krishna is explaining. Krishna is saying, I have a form, and the light that comes from my form, that is the formless aspect. So they are both the same, they exist together. And they are both supreme. So both Mayavadis and Bhaktivadis can live peacefully together. But what Krishna says, even though I have a form, that form also is visible only to those who have surrendered. Because Yogamaya, his Yogamaya is clouding that. It will not let you see that form. You can't see. You remember that one story we discussed a few sessions earlier where this thief was, following a story, and he's going and trying to find Krishna. And then, and the person who taught him about that, he's not able to see Krishna. You see, that is the whole meaning, is that, yes, the divine form is there, but we need to get rid of our ignorance and get away from the clutches of Maya if we have to see and appreciate that form. Okay, so how do we get rid of Maya? We again come back to the same topic. It's like, okay. So Krishna say how beautifully he will take you back to the same thing. He will take you from so many different ways and he will bring you back to the same point. Because he wants you to question. He's like, oh, Krishna, you are saying you have a form. Beautiful. I want to see your form. Krishna says, yeah, but you can see the form only when you are escaping from Maya. Jab tak, as long as you are under Maya, you can't see the form. And then you ask, oh, then how do I get rid of Maya? Krishna says, okay, bhakti. So all roads lead to bhakti. He will take you to bhakti from all different directions, Very, very profound teaching. So when it comes to bhakti itself, there are 9 types of bhakti, and there are slightly different interpretations. I think I have chatted about this earlier also. So in the Ramcharitmanas, they call it Navada Bhakti, and in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they call it the 9 types of bhakti, 9 forms of bhakti. So we can maybe quickly go through those 9 as a revision. So Ramcharitmanas, if you get a chance, I would encourage all of you to read at least once. It's very beautiful, poetic language. And, even reading it generates some kind of devotion. So you should all try to read Ramcharitmanas, especially if you can read Hindi. Definitely go get a copy and read it. So, the Navada Bhakti as mentioned in Ramcharitmanas. First one, Pratama Bhagati Santana Kare Sangha. The first step for devotion is Satsanga. Maintain the association of Satsanga. See, Lord Rama says that is the first. So we are all so fortunate and so grateful that we have this Satsanga here. Let's make the most of it. Week after week we are together. I'm very grateful for this. Okay. What is second? Dusari Rati Mama Katha Prasanga. That means enjoy listening to the kathas, the pastimes of the Lord. So katha basically is the way people describe the leelas of God. So Lord Rama says listening to those kathas is the second type of bhakti. The third, Guru Pada Pankaj Seva, Tisari Bhagati Aman. The third step is serve the Guru's feet without any pride or arrogance. The pride or arrogance is very important. Serve the Guru doesn't mean you go and wipe the floors or you buy vegetables for them. They are all okay, they are all good only, but most important, you are without pride and arrogance. So Rama says that is the third type of bhakti. The fourth, Chauthi Bhagati Mama Gunagan Karai Kapat Tajgana. Beautiful. He says, praise the Lord's virtues. But you see, when corporate sector, if you want a promotion, we go to the manager, sir, you are the best, you are the intelligent, you are the strong, you are handsome, sir. Nobody like you, sir. But why? Because we want a promotion, correct? So there we are trying to be very smart and cunning. So Lord Rama says, the fourth type of devotion, praise the Lord without any cunningness. There should be no kapat in your mind. You are praising the Lord only out of love. So a while ago, I think Sulataji had shared that other shloka. It was also from Ramcharitmanas only. Nirmal manajan mohi pava mohi bed kapat chal chidrana bhava. Beautiful. Where Lord Rama says that kapat, chal, all these things, as long as you have, you can never reach the Lord. So you have to be a little innocent. It's okay. That's the only way. Fifth, mantra jap mama drad vishwas pancham bhajan so ved prakash. He says that the Vedas reveal that chanting the Lord's name is the fifth step for devotion. And Lord Rama says just chanting is not sufficient. It has to be done with faith, because the faith is what gives power to the chanting. So beautiful. Sixth, Chatadamma Sila Birati Bahukarama Niratta Nirantar Sajjana Dharma. Always perform your duties and practice self-control and good character and develop detachment. Even Lord Rama is speaking about detachment. And you see, that is the sixth step. So regular prayers, regular meditation, they will all help purify and strengthen the mind. So very important. 7. Satav sam mohi maya jagadeka mote sant adik kari lekha. Perceiving the world as Bhagavan himself and regarding the saints as higher than the Lord is the seventh step. See, beautiful. See, Krishna, Lord Rama, they all talk the same language. They all give so much importance to devotees. So here Lord Rama also says the same thing. Lord Rama says that of course you have to consider the Bhagavan as everywhere, being everywhere and in everything, but the devotees of the Bhagavan, you have to look at them as higher than Bhagavan. So that much importance Lord Rama is giving to devotees. Then 8th, Atav Jata Labh Sant.
Hare Krishna. Can you repeat the seventh one? I couldn't understand. Seventh one.
Satav sam mohi maya jag deka mote sant adik kari leka. Perceive the world as Bhagavan himself and regard the saints and devotees higher than the Lord. That is the seventh step. Okay. See, what Lord Rama is saying is, if you perceive human beings, if human beings perceive the world as Bhagavan, then they are not going to harm anybody, because you see Bhagavan in everybody. So that is why you have to see Bhagavan everywhere. And moreover, if they will listen and follow to what the devotee saints are preaching wholeheartedly, then there will only be peace, love and compassion in the world. That is why Lord Rama is emphasizing so much on give respect to these saints and treat them as higher than me. He's himself certifying that way. That was seventh one. Eighth one, Ato jata labh santosha sapnehu nahi dekahi paradosha. This we discussed earlier is, you should not, first of all, you should be content. Learn to be content with what you have. Content and grateful. And don't see faults in others. Don't try to focus on fault, because we just saw in the previous one that we have to see God in everything. So if you see, so why are you finding fault in God? I mean, it's contradictory, no? Either you see God or you don't see God. If you see God, then you cannot be finding faults in God. So that follows the eighth one. Don't try to find faults in others. And Lord Rama says, don't do that even in your dream. That even in the dreams, don't be finding faults. Ninth, Navama saral savasan chanahina mam barosa hiya harashanadina. Have full faith in the Lord and become childlike, innocent, with no deception. That is what Lord Rama wants. He says, because with this mindset, without any deception, without any chal kapat, if you have faith, then that will lead directly to me. Okay. And also practically, if you see the practical aspect of it, no? If you can really have faith, then you will always know that there is somebody who is there to support. And that automatically reduces a lot of stress in your life. So there is a very practical way. You either do the, go to a, you don't need to do kind of lot of mind tricks. You don't really need to go to a mind doctor. I'm just using a very common term, mind doctor, where you don't need any chemicals, you don't need any drugs to feel happy. Or the people say, if you're stressed, they will give you some chemicals, but they are all short term. They're not going to really. But if you just follow these 9 types of devotion, especially the 9th one, I think that will itself give you or help you overcome your depression and stress and all of that. Yes, Sulata ji?
Even in this material world, we have faith. Like, suppose we are traveling, when we are traveling, we will rely on the bus driver without even inquiring about him, going and seeing him, having a look at him. So we will be relaxing, laid back, like having faith that he will take to our destination without any mistake. So, but when we are having this scriptural knowledge and when we are in the path of bhakti, then that we can definitely easily have faith on God.
Very nice. Excellent point. Thank you, Sulata ji. She is so right. In airplane, when we are flying, we sleep peacefully because we just have faith the pilot knows what he's doing. Okay. Whereas if I'm driving, Kalpana rarely sleeps.
Actually, I think that is not the thing. Like, everything is going good, then definitely we have faith. But something happens, then we should not, अपना जो faith है वो कम नहीं होना चाहिए. That's the thing, I think. That's the important thing.
Excellent
Something
point.
is happening. Something is not happening as per our choice. Then that faith should not become less.
Excellent point. But if something bad happens and you are having questions, then it was not faith to start with. That is the definition of faith. Faith means whether good or bad, you always know that you can depend on somebody. That is faith. And nice point, Asha ji. Very, very important. Very important to all of us. When something seems to be not going as per our plan, have faith. There are some people, even when they are sitting in a bus, they will have all these comments. Why is the driver, doing like this? The driver should be going fast now. The driver should be using that lane. They will be doing running commentary. I've seen that in buses, So as Asha ji is saying, if you have faith, have faith. Whether you are going slow or whether you are going fast, whether you are braking, just have faith that you will reach the destination. Very nice. So this was Navadha Bhakti, and then let us see what the Srimad Bhagavatam explains. Srimad Bhagavatam also has 9 types, but it is slightly different, but they all have the same purpose. So the first one is Shravanam, hearing, very similar to what we discussed in Navada Bhakti. Second is Kirtanam, chanting. Okay, it's chanting and singing basically. The difference between just chanting and doing Kirtanam is chanting is done alone, silently, whereas Kirtanam is done with a group and done loudly. And the purpose of Kirtanam is, there may be people who are not spiritually inclined, but the sound of your Kirtanam will reach them and it will have some impact on them. So you are doing it as a service for others. Okay. Then Smaranam, which is always remembering, keep the Lord in your thoughts. Fourth is Padasevanam, serving the Lord's lotus feet, and with humility and devotion. Fifth, Archanam. Archanam means deity worship, where you are worshipping the Lord through various rituals. Sixth is Vandanam. Vandanam is praying, offering prayers to the Lord. The difference between Archanam and Vandanam is, in Archanam you need a deity, you need some kind of an idol, whereas in Vandanam you can just imagine God and you can just pray. And then 7 is Dasyam. Dasyam is this mindset of servitude, that you are serving, you are there to serve. 8 is Sakyam, where you develop a friendly relationship with God. So instead of God fearing, you become God loving. Okay. And the 9th is Atmanivedanam, complete surrender, total surrender. So we can quickly go through some examples if you want. Like if you look at the first type of bhakti, the Shravanam, which is listening, the great example is Emperor Parikshit Maharaj. So because he reached a very high level by just listening to the teachings of Sukadeva Goswami. So you will read about this when you read Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. And the second example, second for Kirtanam, is Sukadeva Goswami himself. So Sukadeva Goswami achieved enlightenment by faithfully reciting the sacred texts that he learned from his father. Sukadeva Goswami's father was Vyasadeva. So Sukadeva Goswami, he used to recite all the sacred texts. That is, how he reached an elevated state. And then the third type of devotion, if you see, the example is Prahlad Maharaj. Smaranam. He was all the time remembering the Lord. The Lord was always in his mind, and that is how he reached elevation, and he reached the stage of liberation. Padasevanam, what is the best example? Lakshmi ji herself. God. Hanuman. Yeah. And goddess Lakshmi also, because
She also, because she was giving to
Vishnu. Yes. So that is a great example of achieving elevation through that.
Kirtanam also, you can say Meera also Kirtanam, no?
Meera also Kirtanam. You can say Lord Chaitanya also Kirtanam. So there are many examples. Yes.
Yeah, Nama, everybody is there.
Yes. And then the fifth is Archanam. A great example is King Prithu. So King Prithu attained enlightenment through his sincere worship. Archanam, devotee. He was a deity worship. Very, very earnestly, with lot of devotion, he did that, and that itself gave him liberation. Sixth, Vandanam. So one of the examples is Akrura. Now, Akrura was actually a charioteer, but he reached spiritual heights by chanting heartfelt prayers to the Lord. He was always praying in the mindset. See, he was a charioteer, so even when he was riding a chariot, he will be praying. Okay, that is Vandanam. Seventh, Dasyam. So, Lakshmi ji, here we can take example of Hanuman. Because Hanuman was always in the mindset of servitude. He always was, he never once, not even once in his life did he get into a mindset of pride. He was always like, I am a servant of the Lord.
So, then also we can say,
Yes, yes, yes. There are all examples only. Yeah, we just focus on the type of devotion, that what is dasyam and how it helps. That's all. Yeah. Eighth is sakyam. What is a great example? Sakyam, friendship.
What is that? The girl who cleaned honey made it.
Sudama.
Okay, Sudama. Good.
Sabari also.
Good.
Arjuna.
Yes, we should be grateful to Arjuna. We are studying Bhagavad Gita because of Arjuna. This happened, and he's an example we should never forget. Of course, the other examples are also correct, but in the context of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was the best example of Sakyam. He was the Lord's friend. Atma Nivedanam, there are again many examples. One of the example was Bali. Because King Bali, he reached spiritual success by surrendering. He surrendered everything, including his own. We studied it in the previous session. He just Atma Nivedanam. He totally understood and he surrendered himself completely. Yeah, Shravanam is supposed to be the easiest. See, and Bhagavad Gita helps us do that very easily. So, in my opinion, we should follow it up with Smaranam. Smaranam is also important, where we think. We have to all the time be in the mindset. It should be in our head, And Kirtanam, whenever you get an opportunity, I think we should participate. So Lord Chaitanya has established the Sankirtana movement. Because again, Kirtanam, we have to do it with the mindset that when I am performing Kirtanam, unknowingly also I may be helping people to get into the path of devotion. That should be the mindset. Then Kirtanam becomes very effective. Sevanandi, yes, Bhajananandi and Sevanandi. So be a Bhajananandi with the mindset of Seva. So see, if you can see, it's not that hard, right? Nowhere has Krishna said ki you should be hungry for 100 days or you should stand on one leg for 1,000 years. Nowhere. All they have said is these steps, Sravanam, Smaranam, Atma Nivedanam, none of them are hard. We can do all of that. So it's very encouraging that Krishna is also saying that is the best path, that is the easiest path, that is the most empowering path, and it is an easy path. All you have to do, get rid of your pride and arrogance. Very difficult, right? That is all he's asking us to do, and everything else will come automatically. So with that, I will stop talking. Hare Krishna. Ekansh, you have your hands open, hands raised.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. Guruji, I wanted to ask that for like Bhakti Yoga, is it important to have all of these 9 things, or it's like...
No, that is why we went through the example of 9 types. So you can pick one and be an expert as well. However, you can, based on your type of mindset, you can pick more than one also. And the point is, you should be consistent and you should do it with that total, clean mind and a mindset of devotion. That is what is required. Excellent. I hope this all helps us go closer on the Bhakti Marga. Yeah. Did anybody else have anything to add or say?
Just one more thing to say. Guruji, it looks like that Bhakti is easy, but I don't think it is easy because Maya has such a strong clutches on you. If you think that you are getting it, you are losing it again.
Well, that is the whole point. What is... Okay, I'll put it this way. If you think Bhakti is not easy, then Jnana is a lot tougher.
No, I'm saying Jnana is also tougher, but Bhakti is also tougher. It is little bit easier than Jnana because it's so much technical things involved in it, like sitting in a straight posture, having good, like being very consistent.
What part of Bhakti you find difficult?
It's like I wanted to say, if I think I'm going to surrender, it's like I should not be like materialistic. But on the some other hand, in the morning I'm thinking that God puja and not so much like be clever or for like you want so much money. But by sham tak aate aate, it's like, okay, I need this, I also need this, I also need that. But Oh, अभी तो सुबह बोला था नहीं करना, फिर आ गया.
And see, that's okay. What Krishna is saying, there's nothing wrong in that. Because you have to feed your family, that's fine. So what Krishna is saying, you can ask me even for that. That is also considered bhakti only. But at the end of the day, the purpose has to be clear. That why do you need a stable income? Why do you need a good house? So that I can do bhakti without any worries. If you have that mindset, then even asking Krishna for that material things also is considered bhakti only. So
If you have faith, bhakti will be easier, right?
yeah, faith is a form of bhakti only. Like faith and devotion, they are like very close. They are two sides of the same coin. You cannot have one without other.
Can we say Maya is like a test? I mean, in terms of we are growing in bhakti, but then he's testing us as to, okay, let me put yet another spin to your life, and let me see, how committed are you? Like, it's. I mean, at the
Test
end
of
of the day,
surrender. Test of surrender, I think.
I mean,
How
at
much
the
how
end,
much are
Maya
you
is also,
surrendering?
how much are you surrendering? But Maya is also, he is only brought it into us, like like whatever that situation comes in front of us is also created by him. So yeah, test of surrender. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say. You grow in bhakti, you grow in bhakti, you grow, and you are faced with even more challenging situations.
Yes. As we discussed earlier, if you are growing, then your problems also grow because just like if you are a if you are a if you are just a clerk somewhere, the problems you face will be different. But if you are a king, then you will face much bigger problems. Correct. So based on how much you are growing, your problems will grow accordingly. But then the mindset has to be, give me the strength, Krishna, give me the strength to overcome that. But be consistent and be sincere. That's all Krishna is asking. And then we will win this game and then no more games. That's the goal. Yeah.
And so grace of God is very important, and that is there. But we have to elevate ourselves with self-purification to reach there, and that's how we can think of overcoming Maya also.
Yes. That huge, we have, a lot of us, we all have a very huge, fragile ego. And we think, we really have faith and devotion and all of that, but one small thing, that ego gets hurt and that's it. then it becomes a huge challenge for us. So the challenge is within us, and as Sulataji said, if we can handle that, the grace is for everybody, available to everybody. Very nice. Thank you so much. Ashaji, what were you saying?
Yeah, so the sar of today's satsanga was what I understood. With the bhakti in the mind, if you are worshipping Lord Krishna, then definitely we are going to get the liberation, maybe in this janma as well. So maybe I'm going to sound very silly, but then why don't we have only one God then, Krishna, like in other dharmas? So maybe knowingly and unknowingly, means the one who are following Bhagavad Gita and the one who are not following Bhagavad Gita, they would also have been on the correct path. Na? Means why I'm asking you this question, like my father, mother, they worship the other gods, very devotion in mind, but they followed some other gods, because they were not knowing these things. So why don't we have only one God, Krishna, like other dharma? In other dharma there are only one God.
Yeah, so I can answer it in different ways. It's an excellent deep question. So first of all, do you think in other dharma, whoever is following the dharma, everybody is going towards liberation? Why? They have only one God, then why they are all not going towards liberation?
I think if they really follow with full devotion, they may go. It's like because all
No, they may go is different. The may option is with us also. But the question was, the other dharmas have only one God, So it should be easier for them then. But is that what we see? We don't. So what are we missing? The point is, first of all, it shouldn't be based on force. So if somebody comes and tells you this is the only way you have to look at God, this is the only way you have to pray, then it is not out of love, it is not out of free will. That is a force, and that goes contrary to devotion. That is the first aspect of it. What is the second aspect? Shri Krishna himself has explained that there are 400,000 levels of consciousness, human levels of consciousness. Okay, there are people who they cannot even think of anything like a divinity or liberation. All these thoughts don't even come to them. Okay, so what do you do about them? It won't help if you just force them to go sit in front of a deity. It's not going to help. So they have different levels. That's why we spoke in the example. It's like children. When you are a child, you will only understand a stick as a gun, a fake gun. That you understand. Nobody can give you a real gun when you are a child. But that's okay. For a child, there is a fake gun. Once you grow up, you have a real gun. That was the concept in Sanatana Dharma, where they said that based on your level of consciousness and based on the type of mindset you have, you are free to see God the way you want to see. But you have to evolve eventually. And when you evolve, you will eventually realize that all of these have the same supreme divinity in them, and I need to focus on that supreme. And that is the ultimate goal for me. So without any force, without any compulsion, they let people evolve in their own way. That is the whole idea of Sanatana Dharma. It's a very interesting thing. If I tell you one more thing, some text will tell you that there used to be 64 million gods in our Dharma. But do you know that whenever that was documented, the 64 million god, whenever it was documented, at that time the population was 64 million. So the idea is one god for everybody. That was the kind of openness. It said that everybody feel free. You can feel free to, like even there is another religion that says that split a piece of wood and you will find me there. They accept that also. But then they will say that no, but if you have to pray, you have to go to that particular structure and you have to look at that particular form only. So that's very contradictory. Whereas Sanatana Dharma has pretty much catered to all types of people, all types of mindsets. So that is why we have so many gods. And that makes sense, Ashaji?
Yes. And I'm very lucky that I got, I am following this dharma, because in other dharma they don't allow to follow, this Sanatan Dharma. In our dharma, allowed to go to church, it's allowed to go to masjid, but in other dharma it is not allowed, na?
Correct. That is the openness. Yes. Yes, definitely. So, that is the whole beauty of this. So, Shri Krishna himself, if you see his style of teaching, he will never ever say, do it just because I'm asking you to do. He will give us so many different explanations, data points, and he wants us to do things out of free will. Ekansh, you wanted to ask something again? Let's make it the last question, please. Yeah.
Guruji, I was thinking, is it fine to ask bhakti from Krishna? He gave us some bhakti gunas.
Of course. Krishna says that is the best kind of request anybody can have. Not just Krishna. Shirdi Sai Baba used to laugh. And he used to tell Malsapati the same thing. He used to tell people, come to me, they ask me for, pebbles and marbles and all of that. I'm so surprised. Nobody asks me for, the most precious thing on the earth. Nobody is asking me to give them devotion to the Supreme, And yes, you ask Krishna that and Krishna will more than happily bless you with that. Radha Rani, especially, if you approach Radha Rani and ask her for devotion, that will definitely come. All the best and my blessings with you, Ekansh, and with everybody else here in this satsang. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everybody. See you all in the next meeting. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.